Hey there guys, it's MetaGamesGX here, and we are going to be going through the ultimate combo guide for Genesys format, branded Despia, guys. This is going to be the extensive combo guide for Genesys branded Despia. Now, this is going to include all the combos that you need to know for the new Genesys format for this deck, because branded is still very playable in Genesys. However, you have to change a few things, and to do that, you have to learn these combos and deck build accordingly. I'm gonna have two builds for you guys for two separate sets of combos, so you guys can choose which build you want to play with, and I will give which one I like the most, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty both comparable, where, you know, it's really just preference at the end of the day, which one you're gonna try out. I still think branded is one of the best decks in Genesys format. I know a lot of people have been trying to say otherwise, but you just had to cook a little bit, and we found out two options that I'm gonna show you guys with these combos that you can run that makes branded basically almost as good as it is in modern, right? You just aren't going to have the double branded fusion, the Lubellion, and the Bestials, but basically the game plan is going to still stay the same. Make a 10+ interruption board, break boards with engine, and use board breakers to kill your opponent. So if you want to see more combos like this, I also do have a branded spreadsheet available on my website, including more Genesys combos. And also, if this video gets 200 likes, we will also do a follow-up once the structure deck comes out for some updated combos. So this is the first one. This is going to be with Nebula Dragon. Nebula Dragon is basically our Bestial Lubellion replacement for this deck. In Genesys format, because Bestial Lubellion is just so expensive, we really can't afford it in the branded deck. So we need something else that we can send, making Albion off of the branded fusion, since we also can't run Lubellion, the Searing Dragon, and that kind of makes it so that we really have to do different things in branded for Genesys if we want to use those last, you know, however many points, 34 points, and actually get some decent things out of it. Because in this build, as you see, I used Droll. Basically, Nebula Dragon, when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it for cost, and then target one level 4 light or dark dragon in your graveyard, aka the Fallen of Albaz, and you can add it back to your hand. Now, what does this mean for branded in general? This means that any combo with Cartesia plus a way to branded fusion, it basically is a lot better now, because before you couldn't go into, like I said, Lubellion, the Searing Dragon, so that you would end up just being in a situation where you'd have to banish your own Albion. But as you guys will see from these combos, that you won't have that issue with Nebula Dragon. So that's kind of the gist of it for that. I'll show you guys the next build once we get to it, but let me show you some combos with Nebula Dragon that you need to know for Genesys branded. Now, once again, shout out to Dank Memes, aka Sam. I got to meet him at the YCS that recently happened. He's a really great guy and very good cooker. He's the one who found this card, so all shout out to him. And also, this happens to be his combo, so make sure, guys, give a shout out to Sam in the chat. You know, if you're a part of the Discord, make sure to thank him if you appreciate these combos, because this wouldn't be possible without him. He went through every single card that was looking for like tributes or like graveyard effects. So this is the first combo. It's with Aluber plus Cartesia. So here we go, Aluber, search the branded fusion, and this is having no other cards in rotation, by the way. So we send Fallen of Albaz plus the Nebula Dragon, and then we make the Albion, the branded dragon, and we don't even use Albion effect here. This is actually pretty important for going first in this format when you only have a 2-card combo, because you are on very little resources. So you would, if you activated the Albion here, you would have to basically make a Mirror Jade with your Albion, the branded dragon, and that's no good. We want it in the graveyard. So since we neglected to go Albion effect, it's kind of like those Fuwalos lines we have in the TCG. We can now go Cartesia since there's an Albaz in graveyard, and then we can go Nebula Dragon in the graveyard to target Fallen of Albaz to add it to our hand. And now we can go into Cartesia effect to fuse off itself plus the Albion, the branded dragon, and here you can either make the Mirror Jade, or you can go a little bit further and make the Grand Guignol. And then you can go Grand Guignol effect to send the Titaniclad. And now you have Titaniclad plus the Albion, the branded dragon in the graveyard. And then you can go into the end phase, special summon out the Quem, and then go Quem effect, send the Albaz into the graveyard. And then you are going to be able to go into Albion effect in the end phase in order to get the branded in red. And you can either add it here or set it. I like adding here because you get to use Quem both times then, once on your turn and once on your opponent's turn. So now we can go Branded Red, add the Albaz, and then we can fuse off Albaz plus the Grand Guignol into the Mirror Jade, and then we can go Quem effect to special summon out the Cartesia. Now, in this kind of combo, I definitely recommend 2 Grand Guignol, I think, when I look at it, because you want to bash the first Grand Guignol. And before, as you guys could have seen, you could have just went to the Mirror Jade there, but the thing is that we wouldn't have gotten the Quem, so, and we get to loop Mirror Jade because of this, for 3 times, basically, if we have any other branded spell or trap card, right? Because we can have the initial Mirror Jade banish, and then we can fuse it off with Cartesia into and sending the Renbrum, and then we can go Cartesia, fusing off Albaz, or the Aluber in graveyard, so you can keep the Albaz. I personally... but this also gets you back the Renbrum into graveyard, so that's also pretty good. Which is, if you have like any other discard, that's just another interruption, right? And now you can go Quem effect to loop the Mirror Jade for a second banish, and then you can Stepelia negate. And once they out something, right, you can go into Renbrum effect to summon out Albaz, and that's a very good combo. Tons of interruptions off of just 2 cards, guys. No decks are playing through this in Genesis format, by the way. Genesis has no links or pendulums, so I think that Branded actually has a very good opportunity into this format to basically go first and go second with Engine and do very well, basically into the whole meta. So that was the core combo, guys. This is why I really like the Nebula Dragon personally, but we'll go into a more extended combo with the Nebula Dragon now that we know this one. All right, so this one is going to show you what to do when you have 3 extenders, basically, or like an extra extender on top of like the Cartesia and Aluber, such as like Branded in white. So I go Aluber here, go for the Branded Fusion, and then go for the Nebula. We can special summon out the Cartesia, then we can go Nebula, give me back the Albaz, and then we can go Cartesia, fuse into the Grand Guignol. It's very similar to the last combo, except now we are able to discard the Fallen of Albaz off of the Branded White for card effect to send to the graveyard in order to fuse off into a Mirror Jade. So in this combo, we already get the Mirror Jade, which is kind of nice, and this just happens basically with any other extender with this kind of combo, which is quite nice. So you actually get so you can actually set in the end phase the Branded in red, or you could set a Branded Banishment, which could also loop the Mirror Jade for a 3rd time, right? If you run the double Guignol, you can also go Guignol, send the Adlib, and loop the Mirror Jade off the Branded red into the Stepelia. I definitely recommend the double Guignol if you are running this kind of build, though, because if you play it more just like Sealing, you just end up using the first Guignol as a banish, and I really like having Guignol in order to go into the Despia and Quertus. Basically, it's very good in this format. A lot of decks just don't have an engine out for this card to like stop it from floating, so this means you always have a guaranteed crackback in the form of either summoning a Luber or Fallen of Albaz, on top of just making it so your opponent can't attack it over your board. Like, this card's so annoying to deal with when you have like Masquerade on board plus like any interruption and like maybe even a spell. Like, that's just like an FTK board essentially against most decks. So that was it for the Nebula combo, guys. I really like it personally. I think Nebula is actually quite solid. I think that the next version, though, might have a little bit more ceiling to it and might overall be better. But this one is using Stay Sailor Romarin. I know, right? It's a Plant Light Tuner level 4. So nothing too special, except it's a light. However, it's a... when this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can send 1 level 5 or higher or lower plant monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. Because we run this card, we end up also running the Protoplant Ambula Maladies, and this card is essentially just a fusion brick, right? Like, we aren't running any of the other Protoplant cards, although if you want to cook up a Protoplant version, I wouldn't blame you when you're running this version. However, this is going to be a way that we can easily make our combos better, and this is going to be basically a 2-card substitute for the Lubellion kind of thing that we were doing with the Bestial Lubellion with the Nebula Dragon, and this one provides a little bit higher of a ceiling, but this one requires obviously an extra deck slot too, so there's gives and takes, and let me show you off the combos from these. This is going to be the same combo that we did at first, except for the Romarin, and this is with Aluber plus Cartesia, so we start very similarly, go Aluber for Branded Fusion, send the Albaz plus the Romarin this time instead of the Nebula, go for the Albion Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2 Romarin. This is very important to do the Chainlink 2 Romarin. If you do Chainlink 2 Albion, you mess up the combo immediately. So because you have to get the Ambulmalades in the graveyard so you can banish it off in the graveyard for the Stepelia, and then you can summon out the Cartesia since you still have the Albaz in the graveyard. And then you can go Cartesia effect, fuse off the Albion and itself into the Grand Guignol, and here you can go Grand Guignol, sending the Titaniclad into the graveyard to connect us with the Quem in the end phase, go Cartesia effect to add to hand for a discard, and we get the Branded in red, and we get the Quem. So this is actually quite a clean line, guys, because you do have the Stepelia on top of the Branded red, and Branded red gets you into Albaz here. Now, you don't end on the Mirror Jade, so if you run Mercuriers, this could be a little bit of an issue. But you can obviously just go Branded in red and make the Mirror Jade, send the, Cartesia, right? You could have even went Branded in red in the end phase, bash off the Grand Guignol, which shows you guys maybe Grand Guignol should be ran at 2 in this format if you just always have to banish it. You could also play these combos more low to the ground and just not have to bash the Grand Guignol. Like, he could have went to Mirror Jade, not use the Albion kind of thing, but, yeah, no, and then, so this just kind of shows you what the rest of the interruptions look like. You still have the Grand Guignol on the board. Oh, okay, so that's what you do. You go Lulu, and then you can go, since something left the extract, Quem into Cartesia, and then, which increases your Stepelia attack points, which is not bad. You could also just fuse off into another Grand Guignol, and then do your Mirror Jade things, right? You can still make a Renbrum. This is all without Mirror Jade, by the way. You still have the Branded in red in rotation, and then you can go Branded in red. Add the Albaz, right, and then make another Albion into Chaos Star Source or a Borreload Furious Dragon. So this combo is just insane. I'm not gonna lie. It is going through like look at, you're at like 3 cards in the extra deck, so it's a bit like you actually get to do go through all your interactions, and this combo hasn't even like you still get follow-up, right? You have the Albion and the Lulu in the graveyard for follow-up, which is really insane. And then so you still have things like Branded in white. In this version, I think you like to run double Branded in red for certain combo lines with the Romarin. So you just have this version is definitely very good. Like, I'm back and forth between the Nebula and the Romarin because this is just an insane no one's playing through this board, right? That was Stepelia, double pop, Mirror Jade, which is a banish, and then Renbrum, which fuses off something on your opponent's side of the field into said monsters, and then yeah, it's just really solid off the 2 cards, so you have 3 other cards to play with, right? So overall, I do think that this is a very good combo line. So what did you guys think of those combos? I think the Nebula lines are slightly cleaner. My argument for this is that a lot of the Nebula lines go through actually looping the Jade. You get to loop the Jade really hard with this version. I don't like how the other version tunnel visions into Stepelia on your own turn, because I think Stepelia is one of the best interruptions that you can make on your own turn, right? So and it's a clean way to basically loop the Mirror Jade. So I think it's kind of rough for some of your lines into certain decks if you automatically make the Stepelia. And also when I'm running Mercurier, I'm fine with making Stepelia after he's interacted with my board because I have the Mercurier to check them. That's why I run the Allure Darkness to search it off with the Branded Sword. So that's why I do prefer this version. But I do think the Romarin version is definitely very good and should be considered, right? Because you just get more interruptions in theory out of this one. But I think the Nebula version's better with more extenders. So it's whatever one I want you guys to let me know down in the comments what you guys like more, between the Romarin or the Nebula lines. Either way, I think you have to run either of these, because if you don't run either of these, your lines are just Branded feels unplayable. But that's why a lot of people were oh, Branded's unplayable, because they were oh, there's no Lubellion, you can't do anything. But no, our man Sam, aka Dank Memes, found the goo, so shout out to him. And also shout out to Phil Dillon, because Phil Dillon found the Stay Sailor stuff. So Discord member Phil Dillon, so shout out to him. This is all a community effort, guys. We've been cooking over there, so join the Discord if you want to see what we were cooking over there in the Genesys chat. If this video gets 200 likes, we will definitely do a follow-up combo guide for the new post-structure deck Genesys guide. Comment down below what your favorite combo was. Also, become a channel member today if you want to help support the channel. Always appreciated. Check out my website. Just updated it with a bunch of great stuff. If you want to help support the channel, get my spreadsheet, playmat, merch, all that fun. Subscribe today if you haven't already. We are on the road to 20,000 subscribers. I very much would appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day and have a good one. Bye now. Love you guys. Stay safe.